First impressions, I mean, that's Aussie as it gets. That's pub rock Aussie boganism at its finest. PrymalChaos. Hey guys, PrymalChaos here. Welcome to the channel. This one's here for a good time, not a long time. It's a short song. It looks like it's 2 minutes 53, which is to be expected because the little I know about Amyl and the Sniffers is that they're pretty aggressive punk. And what better way to prove that than by making songs shorter than 3 minutes, right? So as a lot of you know, I don't have my finger super on the pulse of music, especially Australian music, because I've talked before about our scene is kind of such in Australia that unless you go looking for music, you probably won't find it. We have essentially maybe 2 commercial radio stations and a national radio station that's more independent. And you know, those channels tend to play Triple J notwithstanding. That's the national radio station. That's kind of like a youth radio station that plays everything from metal to hip hop and things like that, alternative music, so forth. But the 2 major ones are basically like Kiss, which is the same everywhere. It's basically top 40 pop. And then there's Triple M, which plays basically pub rock. And so if you don't listen to any of those, you don't really find a lot of artists unless you go looking. We do have a pretty active music scene in Melbourne, which is in the southern part of Australia. Where I live in Sydney, there used to be a bit of a scene, but it's not so great as it was, especially since COVID. And so, you know, unless you're the kind of person who regularly goes to shows and gigs, you're probably not going to discover a lot of new artists, right? And I'm one of those people, you know, like it got away from me. I was fixated too much on the things I liked to really address looking for new music. So that's part of what this channel is about. It's finding new acts. Amyl and the Sniffers, I'm fairly surprised to find that they're Australian. I thought they were an international act. I thought particularly they might be from the UK. As testament to how ignorant I am about all things in this business here in Australia. But yeah, the most I know about him is a friend of mine who's a gig photographer took some great shots of them a year or 2 ago. And yeah, that's about it. I assumed that they were touring with whatever artist was headlining at that show. But look, I got nothing to talk about up front because I really don't know anything about these guys. I expect this to be, I know they've got a female singer. I expect it to be confronting, edgy. I know that they're one of their albums won rock album of the year at the ARIA Awards, which are kind of like the Australian Grammys, I suppose. So again, this will be super curious. I'm super curious about this one. Here we go. For better or worse. Aussie, definitely. I should probably stop somewhere. I think we're about to shred a sick punk guitar solo. So I'll roll it back and come back into this part. But first impressions, I mean, that's Aussie as it gets. That's pub rock Aussie boganism at its finest. And for those of you that, maybe international viewers and don't know what a bogan is, it's like, I mean, a lot of people, the best way to define it in a way, in language that most people around the world would understand, is it's kind of like trailer trash, but not necessarily from a trailer. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that sort of real acute Aussie accent. You know, like the way that I speak, I have an Aussie accent, right? Obviously, that's where I'm from, but confuses a lot of people. I get pegged for being South African or whatever, because I don't sound like Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin is one of the greatest bogans who ever lived. As a perfect example. But God, he was an amazing human being. So it's, yeah, the really thick accent, the aggressive sort of, how would you even describe it? Just the sheer aggression with the delivery of the lyrics. But you're being yelled at. It reminds me a little bit of the Chats. If you know the Chats, this is kind of like a kind of less parody version of what the Chats are, right? Because it's hard to take the Chats seriously as much as they probably take themselves seriously. I always looked at them as being a bit of a joke band with some sick songs, but it's, I don't take them all that seriously. These guys I take a little bit more seriously, because I can definitely see her stamping around on stage, pointing at the crowd and, sharing that sort of bellicose attitude with everybody and getting it right back with the right crowd, right? And that's I mean, I'm sure it gets rough at these shows, man. It really must. But I love the lyrics. I think it's great. Take me to the country, take me to the beach, take me in the back seat if you love me is chef's kiss. It's so good. Oh my God. You know what? I didn't expect to like this as much as I'm liking it. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to jump back a bit. That little Marshall bell dam. It's perfect. Damn, all right. Beautiful sunny Victorian beach. Oh man, how do I even quantify what I'm feeling into words? Look, you know what? One of the things I admire is artists who really understand the character of what they're trying to do. I mean, there's a pedigree to that style of music. There's a history there going all the way back to the Sex Pistols and beyond, right? And Australia has it does have a heritage of female fronted punk. We had bands like Nitocris. That was sort of more 90s alternative, but even the Divinals, Chrissy Amphlett was kind of she was like the female answer to something like AC/DC around the same time, where she would dress in a school uniform, strut around on stage and, sing sexually charged lyrics, right? And there was all these rumors about what she was, where she came from and, this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it was all very controversial, but that's the point, right? It's to challenge the cultural high horse people who are like, oh, she's, you don't want to be seen associating with someone like that. And that's what punk is, right? It's sticking the middle finger up at the at society, right? At large. And it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek in-joke for the people who get it, like, because there's a camaraderie in it. It's loose, but it's incredibly powerful. It's simple, it's basic, but it's got a strong message. And the message might not be poetic, but it's there, right? And so, you know, with something like this, what I was getting at earlier is I love it when an artist understands the character of what they're trying to do to the point where it's super authentic feeling, right? Again, there's a history, there's a pedigree to this genre of music, but they don't sound like they're trying to do it. It feels 100% authentic. This is just who they are. If you handed them instruments in 100 different parallel dimensions, you'd still get the same song, right? Because it's who they are. And I really dig that. And, you know, it's goofy, it's janky, it's tongue-in-cheek. The way she dances, the way she moves, there's a certain level of disdain for anything beautiful, right? But in that same breath, it has a beauty to it for the people who are initiated, for the ones in the group, the people who feel the message that Amyl and the Sniffers are putting out there. They see beauty in their artistry and the janky movements and the colorful lyrics and the just, you know, the disturbing nature of all the imagery and things like that. And that's kind of like the knowing wink to the audience, is that you guys get it. No one else does, but you and I, we both get it, right? And I don't think there's anything more punk than that, really. That's really cool. Am I going to add it to my rotation? Maybe not. I don't think it's specifically my genre of music, but I got to respect it. I got to respect what they're doing. You know, I'd be loath to compare these guys to somebody like D'Antwoord, because, you know, they're controversial and they, you know, there's take or leave their backstory, you know, how you want, like they come across, whether it's true or not, I don't know the ins and outs, but they come across as pretty despicable people. At least Ninja does. But there's a similarity here in the grassroots nature of their look, their attitude, the messaging. There's a lot of similarity there. And it's like this whole, I feel like the strata of society that Amyl and the Sniffers is connecting to and D'Antwoord connects to back in South Africa, I think is very similar. I think they come from a similar place. And that is rough around the edges. Again, sticking the finger up at society, spitting in the face of the normies, you know, that sort of thing. Being conventionally unattractive. And I don't mean that in the way that she looks or anyone in the band looks. I mean, like, as far as their general aesthetic as a band, right? They have spiky, you know, disconnected, disjointed kind of like a flavor that isn't palatable for most people. And that's just the way they like it. Because as soon as they become palatable, they're no longer the band they want to be. And that's where a lot of that attitude comes from with a lot of in the punk audience. When a band starts to find mainstream success, it's like, oh, they sold out. I don't like them anymore. It's shit since all the teenage girls started showing up at their concerts, you know, whatever the case may be. Keeping that authenticity is probably, you know, regarded as being one of the most important facets of being in a band like this. Who knows? I don't know. I've had one experience. This is me just spitballing what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing from this initial viewing, but maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, that's about all I got to say. This was actually really cool. Thanks, Radicatcher, for recommending this one. If you haven't checked out my Discord, links in the description. Come and join in the conversation. There's a lot of diverse folks over there with different tastes chatting about music. So, and you can also, if you want to recommend anything, that would be the best place to sort of chuck a recommendation in there. Not that I get to all of them. In fact, I get to very few of them because I get to make so few videos. But there, anyway. If you feel like I brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel. Just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. But most importantly, I'm trying to build my profile right now to be able to move into other facets of the business, like maybe doing interviews, long-form conversations with artists, which there are things in the works, but it needs to, my initial stabs at that need to be really successful. So again, I've mentioned this in another video. if you see an interview with me pop up with an artist, even if it's not someone you're interested in and you like the stuff I do, please just give it a chance. Click on it. Even if you watch it for a minute, it all counts. And I need the powers that be to see that this may be an effective platform for that sort of thing. So appreciate every single one of you. Love you all. Thanks, Amyl and the Sniffers, for keeping it real. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.